Oh, yeah. Happy Friday. Oh, shit, it's St. Patty's Day. Oh, man, I totally, I didn't think about that. I did not think about that. Holy banana nut muffin on a Sunday morning. Holy banana nut muffin on a Sunday morning. Chat. Initiate the gambling. Yeah, no, initiate it. Okay, thank you. Yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the show. Happy Friday to you all. This one's going to be spicy, man. It's going to be good. There's going to be highs. There's going to be lows. But also, we got to talk about the St. Patty's Day thing, because I honestly didn't think about it. I forgot about it. I also have to clean my glasses. There's a smudge on it that's driving me crazy. So I know this is going to be like seeing the teacher outside of school, and everyone's going to freak out when I take my glasses off. But shut your mouths. Ah, much better. Okay, cool. We're back at it. Look. How many of you guys are celebrating St. Patrick's Day today? Let me get the chat pulled up. My eyes! How many of you guys are celebrating St. Patrick's Day? Throw a 1 into the chat if you're celebrating St. Patrick's Day. And also, how are you celebrating? What are you doing? Are you already on a bar crawl? Help, I can't get the Babu song out of my head. Why would you need help with that? That sounds like an incredible problem to have. Okay, some people yes, some people no. I'm plastered, Josh. Right on. Right on, man. Yeah, I've never understood, like, the bar crawl thing. I mean, I guess I get it. But for me, like, you know, I like having a drink. You know, I like having a couple drinks every once in a while. Sometimes I like going crazy. But the idea of, like, spending a whole day just, like, going to this bar, drinking a bunch, then going to this bar and drinking a bunch, like, that feels exhausting. I feel like after 2 bars, I would need a nap. That's just me, though. And, you know, you could say, and I could say, it's just because I'm older. But honestly, it's been that way for a long time. Like, even back in the day, I would need a nap. How many naps do people take on a all-day bar crawl? Or is that just not the thing? Like, are some of you guys literally just drinking all day? Like, how does that even work? How does that even work, man? It's called power naps? Like, what do you mean? Define that for me. Naps? You just booze up and go? Adderall and cocaine. So that's actually, you know what? It's a family show, so we're not going to dive deep on it, but you might have a point there. Other substances help with that? Jeez. But then you're like, what is this? Like the Wolf of Wall Street? Like, for some of you guys, is like, is St. Patrick's Day or a birthday or whatever, is it like, let's do Wolf of Wall Street? Like, where are the Quaaludes kind of shit? Like, you're literally just going that crazy, huh? I mean, look, to each their own, man. To each their own. Mariana, thank you so much for that. That's actually one of the questions I want to get into, but I'm going to take a little bit of time getting into that. Want to start the show off a little bit slowly, and then we'll get into all that. No, you have actually, but I don't say no squeezy. I say be gentle, because he like grabs them or like grabs their ears or like tries to attack them. So yeah, it can be a little tough. Dwarf tossing? What the hell? Oozman. Yeah, we can talk about that for a little bit. I don't know. You know what's going to be really interesting about the fights tomorrow? And I'm going to pick Leon, actually. I'm going to pick Leon. I think most conventional wisdom says that Oozman's going to take him. But here's the thing. Two factors here that I think could actually get Oozman into trouble. Number one, in my opinion, he's completely looking past Leon. And in his mind, he won that fight, and then like this fluke thing happened and Leon took him out, okay? Which is kind of what happened, but I think what he's not considering is the altitude. How many of you guys watched that day of fights or that night of fights, right? There were several fights that night where people were weirdly fatigued. Like, weirdly. I forget the exact fight that night, but there was one where, like, after a round, both these dudes were like, like that. Like, they were dead, bro. And look, it's one thing to say that Kumaro trained. I think he trained at altitude. I think he was at Big Bear for the camp, and he did the right thing by doing that. He didn't underestimate what kind of an effect that would have. But that's a non-factor in the next fight. And so I think there's this like psychological aspect in Usman where he's at least front-facingly saying, this guy can't beat me. He was a total scrub. I'm going to walk through this guy. The other thing that I'm really interested in is, did that knockout affect him, right? Because he's claiming that it didn't, and he's really selling it. He's selling it well. But we all saw that knockout, dude. That was one of the most brutal fucking knockouts I've ever seen. And I honestly would be really shocked and impressed with Usman if it's not a factor in his mind during the fight. And just a little bit, like 3% more of your mental energy going into that worry, anguish, anxiety could really tip the scales in your focus as an athlete. Mr. JB, holy crap, man, gifting 5 memberships. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, brother. And if you got one, maybe thank Mr. JB yourself. So, I don't know. We'll see. Should be a good night of fights tomorrow, though. Either way, I think because Usman wasn't able to finish Leon. And at points, it looked like Leon was a walking corpse. Like, he literally did look really exhausted, really sort of mentally beat as well. So it'll be fascinating to see how this fight goes down tomorrow. But, oh my God, I just got to say, we've had like, this will be 3 weeks in a row of fire-ass fights, dude. Like, UFC's kind of killing it right now. Like, I can't even lie. Like, the UFC's kind of killing it. And, yeah, just a lot of really good fights lately. So it's really cool. I'm excited for tomorrow. Should be fun. Oh, man. Show notes. I just want to say show notes. We will have a Prime stream today at 2 p.m. It's going to be an interesting one. I want to talk about the week. I'm going to talk about, not doing a breakdown for Mando anymore and, like, my thoughts on that and just some of my thoughts in general about, like, YouTube and the channel. It's been an interesting week. Crazy stuff going on with, like, the leaking subreddit thing. Kevin Feige taking him out, essentially. And then, my experience on Wednesday trying to cover The Mandalorian and the sort of division in the fandom, but also just the copyright stuff. So we'll talk about that at 2. And I've got a couple really fun big videos working. If you guys were here on Monday, we went over a bunch of videos. Well, actually just 2, and really just 1.5. Videos of what people were saying as far as like what's wrong with Marvel and how do we fix it. Well, I'm doing my version of that video where I'm going to tell you why most of what these people are saying is wrong, incorrect. And there's actually just a couple of things that Marvel needs to fix to get the magic back. That's going to be a big one. I'm also working on a big video about Mephisto and what his role might be in the MCU based on the new leaks, the new reports, and a lot of the old reports, the stuff that we have been talking about for some time. So look forward to all of that. I also want to, if we have time today, if you guys can remind me, I'd like to do the giveaway for the GameStop gift cards. So we've got two $200 GameStop gift cards that I have to give away to members. So we'll do a drawing later today for the Nerdventure members. Please remind me to do that later in the show. But wow, do we have a lot to get into. Let me just ask you guys, what do you think the crazy... Because I feel like this week was chock full of news. Chock full of news. Now, some of it might be like smaller stories, like a ton of like smaller stories, but a lot happened this week. I'm wondering, like with you guys, what do you think is actually the craziest thing that happened this week? What are the craziest stories? Like, what do you think? The Gunn stuff. Star Wars hype. Intimate Specialist. Oh, we're going to talk about that. Your new channel. Yeah. The Marvel Studios spoiler subreddit. Yeah. Gunn directing the Ben Affleck stuff is pretty wild. Getting rejected from every grad school so far. Look, I don't know about that. I don't know anything. Like, what do I do with my hands? I don't know, but I hope it works itself out for you. Affleck story is nuts. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, huh? Yeah, I'd have to say the Affleck story is crazy. Just DC in general this week has been really, really wild. And I know, and I completely... Like, I'm a very jokey guy. I'm a very memey guy. I have a very chaotic energy. And trust me, today's energy, it's going to get pretty chaotic. I'm thinking about, after I finish this coffee, going to crack a beer for St. Patty's Day. And then we're really going to go off the fucking handle because it's a sour monkey. So I would say, I think just DC in general had a crazy week. And James Gunn is probably dealing with a lot on Twitter. But I would argue he fucking brought this shit upon himself. I would argue that. And of course, there's a little bit of bias there, but it's real talk. You are setting yourself up to get into these different kind of examples. You know, even the stuff with like his wife, there was like, he like did a tweet. He did like a Will Smith shit yesterday. He's like, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth, to some rando on Twitter. And I just don't think quote tweeting randos on Twitter and like really looking like you're real butthurt about the whole situation is a good look. You know? Like, it just feels like, how is that helping? It's going to stoke the flame and the fire of people that already don't like you. All of your defenders are going to like make it a thing. And then you've just amplified not only the noise, but the focus on the noise. It just feels so counterintuitive to what I think his actual goals are. You know what I mean? It's funny, like, Elon, who I have definitely... I definitely feel like he's fucking up at least a little bit. I know I was really team Elon when he first bought Twitter, and I was like, dude, he's going to do a great job. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be incredible. Yeah, he's fucking up. The degree to which he's fucking up is still, to be determined. But he has this like thing on Twitter, and he says like more people should be just communicating via Twitter, even like influencers or people of power. And like, of course, you're gonna have some flubs and you're gonna look silly sometimes, but he thinks it's like good, right? Like, he thinks that would be good for everyone. I gotta tell you, I don't agree. I just gotta tell you, I don't agree. Depending, like, I don't know. To me, that feels like a little bit of cope for how bad he has ended up looking on Twitter in a couple of different instances. And, it's just not the case that you can just hold all of these L's or cause all of these controversies and, like, split people's opinions on you and then, go forward to try to do something for quadrant or unifying. Like, I just don't think that's the way to do it, right? Maybe some of you guys do. I don't know. But my opinion on this whole Gunn situation is crazy, dude. Meaning, like, I think he's crazy for interacting the way that he does. Like, your wife's in everything now, including the Shazam post-credit scene. Sorry. Oh, I spoiled that shit. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, not fucking sorry, because this movie's tracking to be... Well, let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see what the weekend box office holds for Shazam! Fury of the Gods. But, like, your wife's in everything? Dude, people are going to come at you for that. Like, I'm sorry. And the defense of, like, I only cast my wife in one movie. Bro, shut the fuck up. What are you trying to say? That you have nothing to do with the fact that she's... Bro, everybody that's got a brain can see it for what it is. It's fine. It happens a lot in Hollywood. People do that kind of shit. You're putting her on. You did put her on. And now you're keeping her on. In some ways, I fucking respect it. Honestly, my wife would probably be mad at me if I didn't do a similar type shit if something was going on, if it was applicable. But to like try to come out and be like, well, technically speaking, I only cast her in one movie. It's so fucking James Gunn. It's so fucking irritating. First of all, you obviously cast her in the show. So technically, like, correct, you only one movie. You're the fucking president. What? It's insanity. Like, it's insanity. Like, just don't say anything. It's fine. You know? But now it's like a thing. He made it a thing by like commenting on there and commenting on it yesterday. So, I don't know. I just again, I think it's such a stupid, terrible, horrible, bizarre way to approach. Like, Kevin Feige would never, dude. You know how Kevin Feige moves? In silence, shutting down million-follower Reddit accounts. Like, he's fucking ruthless, crazy. You know, like, Kevin Feige is White Suge Knight. But he looks and front faces like Mr. Rogers. You know what I mean? Like, this dude's probably behind the scene, frustrated, still, like, he's human. He's probably just as, like, frustrated about some of the shit, some of the Ant-Man bullshit, some of the leaks, all this different stuff. He just stays quiet, keeps it moving, and then behind the scenes, sues Google and Reddit to get million-follower fucking leak accounts destroyed. You know what I mean? Like, even when he's potentially taking friends of mine to court and trying to destroy leaking as an entire pillar in pop culture, I still gotta fucking respect it. Because it's good PR. The way he does it, the way he handles it. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Okay, so let's now talk about, and let's just, we're already kind of there. You know, we're already kind of here. But let's really get into the Ben Affleck news. I want to do a poll in the chat. Do you, chat, think that James Gunn got caught in a lie yesterday when Ben Affleck made his comments? Was he lying? Let's do this. Did James Gunn get caught in a lie? Pretty simple. I want to know what you think about this. I want to know, what do you think about it? Wow, 80% say yes. This might adjust. I mean, it's kind of early in the poll, but 80% of people say yes, okay? So, to clarify and to really get into what happened yesterday. So, and to be honest with you, like, I didn't even fully comprehend just how crazy it all was, because James Gunn, or rather Ben Affleck, he wasn't even promoting that movie. He's not talking about DC. Like, that's not what he's there to do. Okay? He gets asked about it. He gets sort of pushed into Batman territory. Here, I'll pull up Grace's tweet just to trigger all of you guys. Some of you guys are like, Grace Randolph, rah! You know. Let's get this going. Okay. So, when talking to the Hollywood Reporter yesterday, Ben Affleck was asked about doing something in the James Gunn universe. Do you guys know why he was asked about this? He was asked about this because James Gunn implied that Ben wanted to direct something in the DCU and was looking to do so. They were trying to find the right project for him, okay? So that, by the freaking way, is the reason the Hollywood Reporter asks Ben Affleck about it. Ben Affleck says, and man, this, let's just read the goddamn statement here. It says, I would, let me pull this up. Let me pull this up for you guys. Here's the statement here. I would not direct something for the James Gunn DC. Absolutely not. I have nothing against James Gunn. Nice guy. Sure, he's going to do a great job. I just wouldn't want to go in and direct in the way they're doing that. I'm not interested in that. Okay? on top of that, in this same interview, not in a different interview months ago, blah, 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 in the same interview, Affleck gushed about Snyder, the experience he had doing the Snyder Cut, how crazy it is that Zack's like, just shoot at my house in the backyard, and the fact that now the Snyder Cut is his highest rated movie. It's his highest rated movie on his IMDb, on his Rotten Tomato, whatever. It's his highest rated movie. So it's not just the fact that Ben Affleck came out and strongly denied what was implied by the question and what James Gunn implied when he said this. Met with Ben yesterday precisely because he wants to direct and we want him to direct. We just have to find the right project. So again, with this comment, he's literally said, could Ben Affleck direct, talking about, I believe this is in a thread all about how like Ben Affleck's no longer going to be Batman. And so people were like, well, could he direct, right? And James has literally said, met with Ben yesterday precisely because he wants to direct and we want him to direct. So he's not just saying to this guy, yeah, I think that could happen. He's saying, oh, dude, I met with him because he wants to do that. And we want him to do that. And we want to try to find the right project. So the perception is, and let's just check back in with the poll that you guys are voting on. Yeah, 83% of people say, yes, James Gunn just got caught in a lie. Okay? Now, let me explain the, like, steel man for the case that he didn't lie. There's potential that actually he didn't lie. Okay? Now, again, the actual perception of the fans is what drives the narrative. It's what drives the public relationships. Like, it's more important what people think happened than what actually happened. But it is technically possible that he didn't lie. And here's the steel man for that. Perhaps upon telling Ben that they weren't going to move forward with anything Batman related to him, that they may be cutting out scenes of Aquaman that he was in, there was a discussion between them. And perhaps Ben was interested in directing something DC. This wouldn't be so shocking. Ben has been interested before. He was going to write and direct a Batman movie, right? There was a time where Ben Affleck was so into the DC stuff that he was going to write and direct a solo Batman project. Man, that would have been sick, right? So it's possible they had the conversation, and then once Ben Affleck found out what it would really be like, and it was this really constrained process, because Gunn has talked a lot about how he wants it to be even more planned out than the MCU. And so there's an idea, there's a possibility that maybe when they went further down that conversation rabbit hole, Ben Affleck figured out, okay, this is not something I'm interested in actually, and kind of strongly feels that way. But I would argue that the fact that he doesn't mention any of that, and he gushes about Zack, and he so strongly denied the James Gunn thing, like he said, absolutely not, right? And so there's a lot of headlines that are like printing that out there and like talking about it, and that's because it's a strong denial. Affleck's been in Hollywood for what, 30 plus years? He knows the game. He knows what's up. He knows when he says something like this, it's going to do a thing. So I have trouble believing here that Ben isn't, like, I think Gunn lied. And if he didn't outright lie, he at least twisted the truth, because just like he always does, he wants you to think he's the good guy. He respects and loves the Snyder stuff. He's also just ending it, firing it, being the one to finally actually kill it. But he wants you to think, oh, but I love these guys. Maybe your Batman is going to come back and actually direct it, right? So it technically possible that he's not like the most malicious liar out there, but I would argue he at least twisted the truth. And if he continues to do this, if he continues to talk on social media in these sort of vague, I'm trying to look like the good guy type of way over and over again, he's going to get caught again and again. And I wonder how many of the people that are just riding with James Gunn, right? Because there are a bunch of people that are just riding with James Gunn, man. You know, it came out that he's going to direct Superman Legacy. I think it's a horrible idea. I think it's a little bit shady that he's giving himself $1 million gigs. But there are a lot of people out there that are like, no, dude, that's incredible. I love it. I'm fully on board. I'm all in on Gunn doing Superman. I wonder how many of those people will continue to be just like all in if things like this keep happening, right? Why would you even open yourself up to that possibility? I just strongly feel that communicating with the fans in this sort of way online is a mistake. A lot of people are bringing up this other tweet that Gunn had. It was, I don't even know, it was like a week or two ago, where he said, I have never and will never lie to the fans. Like, he literally put that out there recently. I have never and will never lie to the fans. Dude, again, it just looks bad when something like this happens. Even if there's a shred of truth and maybe he's not the super malicious guy, it's going to be held up. It's going to be used as ammunition. It's just going to be repeated as an L. You know what I mean? So, like, dude, very interesting story. You know, I even saw some people saying, oh, well, Ben Affleck is clearly lying. So now Ben Affleck is the liar because James Gunn needs to be kept in this pristine state of he doesn't lie and he's the good guy. It's so weird watching the sort of internet debate and attack each other. And I don't know. I don't know how you can just say with this Ben Affleck stuff that, oh, no, James Gunn, not only is he not lying, Ben Affleck is lying and he's going to do just fine. DC, boom, we're good. It's going to be fine. Right? Like, you feel me? Definitely curious as to what you guys think of it. I know there are some of you, even some of you right now, that are like, no, Josh, you're just a hater. You just bro. Jesus Christ. It's so wild to me to watch this whole thing go down from like the vantage point that I have. And again, I still think Gunn could be the guy to do it. But it's crazy that people can't admit, it's off to a rocky start. This would not have been the best start. I can think of a few better starts than what has transpired over the last 6 months. That's just what I'm going to say about it. Oh, and by the way, Shazam 2, it's gonna do big numbers, guys. It's going to do crazy, and clearly they're going to continue working with Zach. And he'll be fine in the new shits. Whew. So anyways, there's my take on it. And look, more votes have come in, and it's still kind of stuck at 81%. Most people think he was lying, dude. Like, that's just... And that tracks with what I saw on social media yesterday. I even saw people that are, like, really usually supportive of, like, Gunn and stuff, just kind of admitting and talking about how, yeah, that's not a good look, dude. Not a good look, I'll say. Okay, let's talk about some other stuff. What do you guys want to get into next? What do you think's the most second craziest news that came out this week? Or is there something else that's like burning you up that you just gotta talk about? The Marvel Reddit? Talk Star Wars? Oh, we're gonna talk Star Wars. You know what? Maybe that's true. Maybe we should get into the good news, the good Star Wars news, and then we get into more of like the other news, holy shit, the sky's falling kind of stuff. What do you think? Does that sound appropriate? Is that what we should do? Should we get the hype going? Also, these, dude, I like jacked the levels up on my lighting a little bit, and my God, dude, it's like hot. It's like legitimately hot. How crazy is this? Is that too dark? Yeah, it's way too dark. These lights are so hot. I'm getting sweaty. Mandalorian will lead into the sequels. # confirmed. Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think that's ever really been in question. I know there are some people that are like, I don't know, holding out hope that they're going to retcon it or do something like that. I mean, It's pretty wild. I would say, like, especially because Star Wars Celebration is coming right around the corner. Like, that shit's getting confirmed. Like, we're going to realize that it's the Damon Lindelof Star Wars movie. It's sequel. Everything's leading into the sequel. You know, all of that. You know, it's wild. Wild, wild, wild. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, let's get into some Star Wars stuff. Let's begin by talking about the fact that it seems like Ahsoka is going to be in the next episode of The Mandalorian. Okay? Pretty crazy. This was all due to a tweet here. Seems as though Rosario Dawson, let's just pull this up here. This was from Star Wars Only. It says, seems as though Rosario Dawson has said she will be in the next episode of The Mandalorian. Being that Dave Filoni co-wrote the episode, this looks possible. Yeah, so apparently she liked a tweet suggesting, I can't quite read this, doing my best Wednesday as I Jones. Yeah, what the fuck is this, bro? I thought this was good. Somebody sent me this. That's not helpful at all. God damn it. I believe she liked a post talking about, and since like deleted it or removed it, talking about the fact that she would be in the episode. Where's this at? Let me try to find this on Reddit. Let me try to actually find for you what's going on here. Oh, and apparently John Kasdan came out and said they didn't actually cancel Willa. Did you guys see that? He's like, we didn't fire everybody. We didn't cancel the show. We just told everybody that they're free to go look for other work for at least a year. Like all the actors, all the writers, all the producers, all the fucking crew. Like, we didn't get rid of Willow. We're just letting everyone frolic about. They've earned it. Yeah, I can't find this shit. Where is this shit about Ahsoka? I know a bunch of people were talking about it. Chat, help me out here. I'm having a crisis. I'm having a crisis. Wait, what? Yo. Oh my God. Okay, there's some pretty crazy stuff going on. So it is possible that you're going to see mother-loving Ahsoka next week's episode. Kind of wild, though, because the episode's supposed to be very short. I think it literally might be the shortest episode The Mandalorian has ever done. So it's kind of wild, right? Like, they do this 50-minute episode with Dr. Pershing. And then we're going to get the shortest episode of the entire Mandalorian. And you're going to put Ahsoka into that one. So the fan favorite character gets the shortest episode ever. But don't worry, because you got like 40 plus minutes of Pershing, okay? Here's something that's kind of interesting. Kevin McKidd will reprise his role as Fen Rao in The Mandalorian Season 3. McKidd previously voiced the character in 7 episodes of Star Wars Rebels. So funny, we were just talking about this on Nerd Theory. Fen Rao's a really fun character. He tells the story of Tar Vizsla to the Ghost crew, helps to train Sabine. If Ahsoka is in next week's episode, do you guys think it would be because of Baby Yoda? Or do you think it would be because of the Mandalorians? Because if she's already hooked up with Sabine, maybe a message is going to go out. Maybe via the armor or Bo-Katan or whatever. And all of a sudden you get Ahsoka coming in. Right? But then again, what am I even talking about? It's the fucking Star Wars Disney Plus shows. Maybe they'll just do a full-ass Ahsoka episode. Oh my God. Do you guys think they're just going to do a full-ass Ahsoka episode? Like, just do what they did in the Book of Boba Fett with Mando, but it's just, like, full Ahsoka? Like, why even connect Din or anything to it? Yo, honestly, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, look, would I care that much? Nah, like, I'd be kind of pumped. Honestly, more excited for Ahsoka than anything. But, wow. Wait. Not happening? Come on, be real. Sajid, bro, they literally did that. What are you talking about? Not happening. Absolutely not happening. What? What? Dude, this is the franchise that was like, hey, the end of your season 2, crazy. Luke Skywalker's taking the baby away. They're separated. And then they close that entire arc in 2 episodes of a different show. So, I don't know, bro. I can't get into this. Like, that would not happen. Like, bro, we literally have evidence of damn near that exact same thing happening. Holy shit. That would be pretty wild. There's obviously a way they could bring Ahsoka back in via the story with Sabine or maybe some kind of Baby Yoda situation. I don't know. I almost feel like it could just be like Ahsoka randomly showing up at Luke's temple place, but checking in on Grogu. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. They honestly should. The Pershing screen time was whack AF. Yeah, you know what's crazy about that, too? There are a lot of people now talking about how that was likely a big story that was going to be in Rangers of the New Republic, right? With Gina and with some of that kind of stuff going on. And now they've wedged it into The Mandalorian. And I just got to tell you, like, I'm not sure their strategy of like, hey, we want to keep telling this story, but we also want to tell Boba's story, so we'll just inject Mando's story into Boba. And now they're like, oh, but we canceled this show, but we still want to tell that story, so let's inject it right in the middle of this other Mando episode to give this big Pershing thing. Like, I just don't know if that's effective. That doesn't necessarily seem like the best idea. Almost like it's the Mando-verse. Yeah. No, I get that. And trust me, there is some stuff that I'm actually quite excited about, including the Ahsoka stuff. But I also am like, dude, like what? Like, what if it's just an Ahsoka? Like, wow, it's so confusing. It's a confusing time to be a Star Wars fan, okay? But let's just get into the hype shit, man. Should we just get into the hype shit? There's a big old article out there where Dave Filoni implies some really interesting things that we've been talking about for some time about the Mandalorian show, the Filoni verse, and I want to really sink my teeth into this particular story because I think it's something Star Wars needs. You know, obviously, like doing what I do and it being such a weird time right now for this pop culture entertainment, I've been thinking quite a bit about Marvel content, Star Wars content, the future, other IPs coming in, all these different ideas. It's my job, right? So to a large degree, I'm constantly thinking about this stuff. And I've been asking myself some really difficult questions this week. About how I feel about this content, about how I see the future of this content, whether or not I need to pivot into some other stuff because, well, Disney's just going to literally fuck it up and they're just on a slow decline until they completely fuck it up. And I was asking myself some really difficult questions about Star Wars, about Marvel, about the future. And I think the main thing that differentiates Marvel from Star Wars right now, and why, even at a time when Marvel is holding some L's and doing some stuff that I think is pretty fucking questionable, I'm still incredibly excited for the future content. And I think more important, frankly, than being excited for the future content, I'm excited to engage in that fandom via speculation, stories, news, leaks, possibilities. I'm more excited to engage in that fandom than I am with Star Wars, despite everything that's happening with Marvel, right? And I think one of the big reasons is because there is a Secret Wars on the horizon. There are crazy movies coming out next year with like Thunderbolts and, Adamantium and the Red Hulk and Sentry. Even past Secret Wars, I'm interested and excited to see what's going on with the X-Men, what's going on with Doctor Doom. The story is going to keep going. There are these sort of signposts for like epic things that are coming down the road. And Star Wars doesn't have that. Okay? Even with the new movie, because I don't think the new movie is going to be episode 10, I still don't think you're going to get that level of fan engagement and that level of hype and the excitement there, because unlike Marvel, Star Wars doesn't have like, oh, here's where we're going next. Here's this thing that's coming, this thing you should be excited about, and we can't wait to see how it all went down. They don't have like a Secret Wars on the board. They don't have like big crazy things that are coming, as they're going to be adapted off of this like huge history of comic books, right? So for me, I think Star Wars should do another trilogy. I know Kathy's like anti-trilogy now, but I think they should do another trilogy, because at the very least, if they did another trilogy, you would kind of go into it being like, okay, so this is crazy. What's the setup here? The good versus the evil. How does it associate with the things that I know from the past? What are the dangers for the galaxy moving forward? And you have that, and then you go into the next chapter, and you're like, oh, okay, well, what's going to happen next? How are the major conflict going to go down? What L's are the main character going to take? How are they going to grow from that? You have this like set model, and you're building towards a conclusion. That is a big part of like hype, speculation, the fandom that we all enjoy, right? They don't have that at Star Wars. But they could have it in The Mandalorian if done correctly, okay? So, let me see here. You're telling the story you're telling. As the next chapter in the critically acclaimed series unfold, no one beyond the core production cast and crew know what surprises are in store, where the story is headed next. We know that the Mandalorian had removed his helmet, and instead of being written off completely, it's been learned that if he could return to Mandalore and bathe in the living waters, that he could be purified and forgiven, Favreau says. A journey that has taken us to Chapter 18, The Mines of Mandalore. We know that Bo-Katan wanted to go back there too, but now she has the Darksaber, which is something she had wanted. It's like I'm watching the show now, Filoni interjects with a laugh, because John's like explaining it. We have a lot of trajectories that are lined up, and we have different factions of Mandalorians, right? Favreau continues. And the resurgent empire is out there somewhere, and we know that that's growing. So as we come into season 3, we know that all of these different intersecting vectors are happening. We're going to see relationships evolve between our two leads. Favreau and Filoni surprisingly insinuated that the effects of helming a global phenomenon, a skill that Filoni has honed over 15 years of working in the Star Wars galaxy. You know, George taught me you're telling the story you're telling, Filoni says, when asked if there's a series success impacts his creative process now. And I think we're incredibly lucky that people have responded the way that they do. I learned a long time ago, people just don't like this because you stick the name Star Wars on it. That's not good enough. You have to care. You have to put a lot of work into it. That starts with Favreau and Filoni and their creative toy box and white papers that ripples out the rest of the cast and the crew. They love it. They research things. They find the right items to make the props. They put the extra time in to make the costumes. You know, Kathleen Kennedy, she was adamant about the level of visual effects that this thing needed to have there. It has to be equal to a movie. Everybody invest in this, and so we are delivering something that we can be proud of, and that we like as fans. At the end of the day, you can only make people something that you really enjoy and hope that other people like it. But the response to Grogu, when people saw him, it was on another level. And even though I'd been with Star Wars a while, I had never experienced anything like that. I think that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You're lucky if you're ever a part of something like that. If anything, it puts more pressure on you because you know how many eyes are watching this. The expectation have grown, but it's a privilege beyond that. I want to get into the part where he teases out like the future, okay? Because that's really the big deal. That's really what I'm talking about. But you know what? I got time. You got time. Let's just read this next paragraph. Then we'll read the last paragraph. I think the last paragraph is where he talks about that, but I don't want to miss it, okay? Favreau has been a part of the galaxy almost as long, first stepping into the role of Pre Vizsla in Star Wars The Clone Wars, the leader of Death Watch who wielded the Darksaber in animation. Life is weird, he says. In retrospect, it looked like it has followed some path, but at the time, it just felt like we were doing things that seemed fun and cool, and I had no idea it would lead to The Mandalorian. I definitely feel a connection to the Darksaber because I was the first one to wield it. The idea for the Darksaber came from Lucas himself. That's really interesting. A rewrite after Favreau initially recorded the episode with a vibroblade. Oh, yeah, I did actually hear that. That was going to be a vibroblade, but then they changed it. George didn't like the logic of the vibroblade being able to parry a lightsaber, so he invented the Darksaber. And I had to read the whole monologue about how it was found in a Jedi temple, and I was telling my wife, she's like, that's the coolest thing in the world. And it became so cool that we ended up making a whole TV show about it, he said with a laugh. The whole idea and how profound that thing is that Tar Vizsla was the first Mandalorian and Jedi, that implies so much because those were two diametrically opposed warring factions. So what does that mean? There are clues that we look for, these little anomalies and things that instead of shying away from, we sort of delve into and explore. That includes the factions of Bo-Katan's Mandalorian sect and the Children of the Watch, whose members must never remove their helmets. In the Clone Wars, they're always taking their helmets off. So what's going on there, Favreau asked. We pulled all that together, and in Season 2, they confronted each other. Now we just see how it all plays out. As for the best-kept secrets and character surprises that the show has become known for, we'll have to wait and see what comes next. We'd like to have surprises, Favreau says. We'd like to have something revealed each episode. I like when everybody tries to see it at the same time and then talks about it and reacts to it, discusses it, tries to guess what's happening next. That's a part of the fun of the serialized storytelling. We want to make sure that each week a new piece of information comes out and maybe things resolve in an unexpected way, but ways that feel justified and emotionally resonant and character based. Look, we're hoping that people just blah 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 blah. This isn't the shit I'm looking for. Where's the stuff where they're talking about the crazy possibility here? Hang on now. We've been led astray. It's all Trev's fault. Is it this one? Let's just read random articles on the internet until we get to the thing I was talking about. Okay? I think that's a part of the joy. The journey is the reward. So, like I was saying, here we go. Jeez, Trev. The Mandalorian EP teases how the Star Wars spin-offs could all come together. A big event in this time period is very real. Boom! That's what I was looking for. The Mandalorian is finally back for a third season, but what lies ahead? Blah, 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 blah. He spoke to The Wrap, and here's what he said. The Wrap spoke to Filoni about the new season of The Mandalorian, his interest in turning animated characters into live-action favorites, and whether or not the series and Star Wars spin-offs like Ahsoka will actually culminate in a big event, as was teased by Kathleen Kennedy in 2020. I don't really remember her teasing that. What are they talking about there? I mean, I remember hearing about it. I remember reporting on it, but I don't remember Kathy talking about it. What the what? What the what? Going into The Mandalorian Season 3, what were the key objectives for you? The story, by definition, is The Mandalorian and speaks to that part of the Star Wars saga that we're now telling specifically about Din Djarin and Grogu. but they've pulled into their orbit many other Mandalorian characters, namely Katie Sackhoff's Bo-Katan. You have the Armorer, and I think that's what starts to raise a lot of questions about the way and what is the way. And when you speak vaguely about their home planet of Mandalore, which was basically lost and really destroyed in the war with the Empire, is there any chance of rectifying that, reclaiming that? And what does that mean for our lead character, Mando? What does that mean for Grogu now that Grogu's chosen to be with Mando instead of following Luke's path of the Jedi? What are all these little signs and tea leaves saying to us in our Star Wars galaxy? John is the one that has brought the idea to Lucasfilm, and I've been there shepherding it with him. He would disagree with this, but I always see it as his story, and I'm helping to aid him through as George guided me in the Clone Wars. I think he's done an amazing job that he always does with the writing. Then he's asked, how often are you thinking, how can I get my cartoon characters into live action? By the way, I don't know what his actual answer is here, but what his real answer in his head is probably like constantly. Probably constantly. He says here, very rarely. Cap, I know people think it's the other way around. Yes, which is fascinating to me, but I think there's two ways to look at it, which is, yes, they were animated characters, but to me, they're just characters. And now I'm over here working in live action. I'm comfortable with those characters. I know them. I like them, and I like to see them around. So like we all said, it's, yes. God damn it, Dave. But also, it changes when we're suddenly in a different medium. Katie's talked about it a little bit, but the difference between performing Bo-Katan as a voice actor versus performing her physically and being present on set as her, it's a different vibe. I'm always cautious, and John and I talk about who we will bring in. I try to do when it makes the most sense. When we needed a gunslinger to go up against one of our characters in the Book of Boba Fett, Cad Bane's name came up. I think looking at that, the first thing I think is, well, how do we do that and make it believable? Like the character, he's so lean and gaunt in the Clone Wars. And if we don't do that, is it all CGI? How are we going to portray that? And if we don't think we can do that effectively, then we shouldn't do it. At the end of the day, I've been very happy with the ones that have gone over. There may or may not be more in Ahsoka, if that's your thing. If you're excited about that, I'm just saying that one might have a few more, which makes sense, by the way. As you know, I wrote it. You can't fault me there. Man, I love Dave Filoni. Love Dave Filoni. But I've never seen a more like y'all are right, but it's not what you think kind of wobbly wobbly answer. Like, bro, you could have saved us all a lot of time. How often are you thinking about, can I get my cartoon characters into live action? All the fucking time, because these characters are dope and fans love them. Answer. Kathleen Kennedy said in 2020 that the series will culminate in a climactic story event. But more recently, John has said The Mandalorian could go on forever. Are you building towards a climactic story event, or has that been put aside? Damn, that's a good question. That's the question. That's what we're all here to figure out. Well, from a certain point of view, it could. It could build into a climactic thing, and The Mandalorian could still go on. It's not necessarily either/or, is it? Wow, he's such a Sith Lord, dude. He is a Sith Lord. He's playing with our emotions. Emotional damage. It's an interesting way to think about it. I tend to think, as we've been working on The Mandalorian and then writing Ahsoka, and then John Watts came in with Skeleton Crew, there is an entire time period that is post Return of the Jedi. And I look at that time period, which before The Force Awakens is around 30 years of time. Ooh, okay. When you look at the original trilogy, it's a much less significant amount of time that those three movies take place in. And so, what I like is that we're really building very slowly an ecosystem of characters and politics and events in the post-Return of the Jedi time period. And that may or may not expand in a bigger way as we add more shows to it and add more characters to it. The good thing is that we're all talking creatively together about where these stories are all going. and I love whiteboards, and I whiteboard everything and have timelines. They always start back with the Phantom Menace, and they always go out to the Rise of Skywalker. I have all these slots in between them where everybody's doing everything. So I can look at it all and commiserate with Kathy on what's going on here, what's going on there. It's very fun. Oh my God, show us the whiteboards, Dave. Show us the whiteboards. Holy shit. Dave's literally like this is how I'm reading this, okay? Dave's like, well, you know, we could do that. We might do that. It could be interesting. We might do that. By the way, I have the entire fucking thing mapped out. I have all the whiteboards mapped out. I know how all this is going to play out. I'm the mastermind. Would you like to play a game? Holy shit. He goes on to say, I think that the reality of there being a big event in this time period is very real, is all I would say to that. But yes, if John wanted to keep making the Mandalorian stories, as long as he does not get bumped off and in said Titanic event, then they, I suppose, could continue. There doesn't seem to be any lack of interest in Grogu and Mando. That's for sure. Wow, wow, wee-wah. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. That's what it's about, man. And let me just really hone in on why this is so important, okay? Because when Jon Favreau said, I don't have a set ending for the show, and that the Mandalorian could go on forever and stuff like that, that was really wild. It spoke to me counter to a lot of the stuff that I was hearing before that they were building towards something, that there was a conclusion in mind. And there were even reports that John and Dave could do something with a movie. That what you might be seeing with the Filoni-verse was a ton of different shows that sort of build up this overall plot, this overall conflict in the galaxy in that 30-year chunk. And then you pay that all off in a massive movie, something like Heir to the Empire. Okay? And so I think pretty keenly, the interviewer here is bringing up Kathy's past comments, bringing up what John is talking about, and sort of trying to get the truth from Dave Filoni. And the way he answers the question is so interesting, because I think it sort of speaks to the idea that both could be true, that the Mandalorian could go on forever. It doesn't necessarily have to have an end point that is the same climactic conclusion that Kathy was talking about, right? So why not both? And that could have obviously still be a thing. I mean, you have that in Star Wars quite a bit. You have a massive conclusion in the Return of the Jedi, and then Luke continues his story. Right? So you have this massive conclusion, and then they continue the story past that via comics, via some novels, and then, of course, via him going to get depressed and drinking the titty milk on the island. Right? I'm not saying that's a good example, one that fans really, really like, but the point is you still can continue that. You have a conclusion in the Clone Wars, and yet the story of Ahsoka, the story of the clones, continues on. You see it play out in Rebels, and we're going to see Ahsoka's story continue into the Ahsoka show. So you could do both. You can have these fascinating, really important, big conclusions, and then still continue the story of said characters that were involved in such conclusion. Now, I think, and I hope, that this is more than just Dave kind of teasing us. I think that there is at least a plan, maybe on his whiteboards, maybe somewhere in the Lucasfilm, place, that there will be this big event, right? The trouble is, and I guess where I'm kind of confused is, how is this now going to work with The Mandalorian? Because it seems like at one time, I really felt like Thrawn and what Thrawn was doing was going to be very much connected to The Mandalorian. You obviously have that Ahsoka episode where she's looking for Thrawn. You have the Night Sister lady, who now we're pretty sure is actually a Night Sister. is Gideon then working for Thrawn? Right? That's the question. But now it seems like the Mandalorian might be setting up something separate from Thrawn with Gideon, more connected to the sequels, more connected to the Imperial Remnant. And it almost seems like Dave wants to do that big event either in the New Beyond or very much separate from what's happening in, like, let's say, the core world and the Outer Rim from the Mandalorian perspective, right? But I think either way, Star Wars needs this. Star Wars is at a place, man, and it's fascinating and it's wild to see. But Star Wars is at a place where it's actually doing pretty good content again, I would argue. Like, I'd argue Mandalorian's good. I would argue Bad Batch is, like, really good and better than it had been. You've got Tales of the Jedi. And yet the fandom itself is maybe more divided than ever. The actual numbers that are coming in from Mando, at least so far, are disappointing. The buzz and the hype for the movies and the creators of Star Wars, like, Star Wars is in such a precarious position. It's in my opinion, like, pretty bad. Pretty bad. And I think something that would really help them would be to have that big hype thing in the distance. That, like, the best case scenario, the fanboy dream for me would be them to come out and say, hey, Mandalorian was pretty crazy. We're building towards some incredible stuff with that. And also, by the way, Mandalorian, Skeleton Crew, and Ahsoka are all setting up a big story that is going to culminate in a massive movie that John and Dave are working on called Heir to the Empire. And if you did that, right, and you said that at Star Wars Celebration this year, I think that the hype, the interest, the speculation, the fan engagement, which is such an important part of modern day pop culture success, would skyrocket. As it stands right now, we really don't know what the hell is going on with The Mandalorian. I mean, obviously they're building towards, like, Mandalore coming back together. There's some threads that seem to connect to, like, sequels and stuff like that. But there's no, like, oh shit, episode 10, episode 11, episode 12. Oh shit, Secret Wars. Like, how's that going to happen? Like, what's up with Kang? There's none of that over there for Star Wars. So I strongly feel that this would be a dub. That would be massive for the fandom. And I kind of, like, fear that if they don't do that and they don't do an episode 10 thing, like, they're really, really going to just kind of teeter and meander, you know? So I of course, I wonder what you guys think about that, and we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. But I wanted to, I guess, on the note of talking about how weird it is for Star Wars right now, I actually wanted to talk about Damon Lindelof more or less confirming his Star Wars movie, but also making some pretty interesting comments here. Okay. So this is coming from Slash Films. And it says here, we recently had the good fortune of speaking with Lindelof during this year's South by Southwest in honor of his new show, Miss Davis, which premiered at the festival. During our conversation, I asked him what it's like to craft a Star Wars movie at this moment in time. Lindelof obviously didn't divulge any details, but he did explain that the high bar for success is something he's put a great deal of thought into. Here we go. I will just say that for reasons I can't get into on this Sunday morning, on this day, the degree of difficulty is extremely, extremely, extremely high. Wow. If it can't be great, it shouldn't exist. That's all I'll say, because I have the same association with it as I do, which is it's the first movie I saw sitting in my dad's lap, 4 years old, May of 77. I think it's possible that sometimes when you hold something in such high reverence and esteem, you start to get in the kitchen and you just go, maybe I shouldn't be cooking. Maybe I should just be eating. We'll just leave it at that point. Wow. Very, very interesting. Okay. So I think this statement, and by the way, this is why I like, I really like watching interviews or like getting quotes from like really good writers. Right. So if you ever watched like an interview with Sorkin or, Tarantino, even, man, there's just, like, I love some of the answers you get from writers because obviously like communication is their thing. And so they have these really colorful ways of communicating things. And so I think it's so wild that he's speaking to extremely, extremely, extremely high levels of difficulty. And the idea that if it can't be great, it shouldn't exist. And I really do wonder from your guys' perspective. I know we got some Star Wars fans in here, right? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Because this lines up with, I think it was Puck. I could be getting this wrong, but there was a big article that happened about 6 months ago. We talked about it on Nerd Theory. I think I talked about it on streams. Theories talked about it in videos. The writer's room that was assembled last year for this movie, which Lindelof led that room. Filoni was in that room, but Lindelof led it. In the Puck article, it talks about how the attitude at Lucasfilm was that they are aware that they needed to nail this. No more fucking about. They knew they needed an incredible Star Wars movie, not like better than what they had done before. There was some cringy stuff in there too when they were like, we made the mistake of doing fan service in episode 9 and we're not going to do that again. Some of the stuff I didn't love. I was like, I don't know about that shit. You're learning the wrong lessons. I don't know about that shit. But there was at least this admittance that it wasn't as good as it could have been in the past and that they are not going to do that again and that they really need it to be special. Okay? So it's really interesting, right? Like, how much pressure do you guys think is on this next movie? I feel like when it comes to Star Wars, we kind of continuously say, like, this next project is make or break. Or there's a inordinate amount of pressure on this next thing. I gotta say, and I don't even think it's hyperbole, this is an incredibly important movie for the future of the Star Wars brand. You know what I mean? Like, this is an incredibly important movie for the Star Wars brand. If this movie comes out and bombs, wow. Like, I just think that would be very, very devastating because I think there are already a lot of fans that are either completely checked out or partially checked out. I mean, that is, I think, why The Mandalorian, at least so far, has not captured that same zeitgeist and windfall that it has before. It's doing better. Like, I saw it trending yesterday at like almost 90,000 tweets. Like, it's doing well. Like, the show's doing well, especially compared to like Andor and the animated stuff, etc. But it's not doing as well as it even was in its second season. That's weird, dude. That's weird. So I think that the only like viable like explanation for that is like fatigue and people kind of checking out, right? And so I think there's like all these different people that are really skeptical, on the fence, not completely engaged with Star Wars. It's not as though, when Disney first bought Star Wars and then The Force Awakens came out, there was this idea, there was this feeling of like, bro, oh my God, Star Wars again. I can't wait for more Star Wars. and to experience that again, for the story to push forward, to have it be relevant again. You know, there was like, literally, we were all like the fucking Ewoks singing Nub Nub. Like, it was brilliant. It was amazing. We are nowhere near that place anymore. And I think that if this movie comes out and is horrible, if fans hate it, because I don't even know if it matters if the critics like it, to be honest. It's really more about the fans. If the fans reject this movie, then I think for the next decade, anytime a Star Wars project comes up in casual conversation, there will be a negative slant to it. Like, just that's kind of like the trickle-down effect of bad PR and brand degradation over a long period of time. You know? So I think it's incredibly important. Now, what's weird about it, though, is they're doing a fucking sequel movie, dude. Like, they got Lindelof. Okay, here's the thing. They got Lindelof. Dave's in there, too. They know it needs to be great. They're trying to make it the fucking bee's knees best, most incredible Star Wars movie. And this will be the first time it'll be like a 5-6 year gap between the Star Wars movies. We're going to show up, at least for the opening weekend, for this movie. It's going to be huge. But the weird part is, it's a sequel movie. Like, it's going to be a continuation of the sequel trilogy. It's not going to star sequel trilogy people, but the big time rumors are that it's going to involve like Rey, Poe, Rose Tico, staples of the sequels. Like, they're just gonna keep it going, right? I'm really curious how all of this is going to shake out. It is fascinating to hear him say this. And there's some trepidation there. You know? Like, there's some trepidation there. I also wonder how much they paid Lindelof. Because, like, real talk, man, I don't know, bro. Like, it's just fascinating. It's fascinating to me. It's fascinating. We'll leave the story there. But yeah, him having some really interesting reactions to Star Wars. Let me see here. What's this? Is this the one? No, there's another story I want to talk about, because our other favorite director that's doing Star Wars. Oh no. Ah! Taika! Guys, how does every time Taika Waititi opens his mouth, I feel it's a whole thing, okay? So it's not as bad when you actually read in the article. We'll get into the article. But it literally says, Taika Waititi has addressed reports that he's in talks to star in his upcoming Star Wars movie. That rumor's about 3 years old. Okay. Taika Waititi addresses the Star Wars casting report. Director Taika Waititi spoke with Deadline about potentially playing a role in his upcoming Star Wars movie after the report noted he was in talks with Disney and Lucasfilm. When that rumor was brought up, Waititi laughed about it and noted that it was about 3 years old, seemingly indicating that's not on the table for now. Deadline. Speaking of different environments, Taika, there's a lot of talk about what you are working on. Now it's writing and perhaps starring in a Star Wars movie. Waititi says, that rumor's about 3 years old. All I'll say is, God forbid I make a Star Wars film about people sitting on mountains playing flutes. Deadline says, well, they kind of went there with the last few Star Wars movies with Luke Skywalker. And Waititi said, okay, then I won't do that, for sure. Okay. In June 2022, Waititi provided an update on how his movie was progressing, noting that he hadn't even finished the script at that point in time, and that he was still throwing everything at the wall for ideas that he could use in his movie. No, I'm able to kind of bring my tone. At the moment, it's just very early because I still haven't even finished the script. I'm still trying to come up with ideas, and I'm mostly kind of in that part of the process where it's still very kind of open. And when I write, I kind of write every idea I've ever had and then start to kind of chisel it down or something. But I'm still throwing everything at the wall right now. Okay, so again, when you fully like read into it, it's not as bad. Like when I first like read this, like and the tweet and the report, I was like, dude, is this guy saying like the rumor of him doing Star Wars is 3 years old and like whatever? But it's still just like too much, bro. Like his attitude. Here's the thing. I like Taika. He's a fun, creative guy. But he's also a child, and that's of his own admittance. He talks about this all the time. He's a fucking child. Okay? Do you want to know why Love and Thunder was whack as fuck? Because Taika literally fucked off during the pandemic and was a child and had a 4-hour cut that made no goddamn sense. And so they basically just tried to patchwork the movie together, make it into somewhat of a cohesive narrative, and it ended up being completely surface level, totally vanilla, and just kind of shitty. So I personally think that this guy is the worst guy to be doing a big Star Wars movie for now. Like, with where the fan base is at, I do not think this is the guy that should be out there talking about it. Like, every little joke, every little thing, the sort of shit grin, I'm a child type attitude, when we're all literally freaking the fuck out, looking for any semblance of like actual Star Wars and hope of the franchise getting back on track. It's not the guy. That's not the guy, dude. And so, you know, it's like anytime he's asked about this, he kind of further proves to me that he's not the guy for that. They shouldn't do that. And yet he is probably going to be that guy. He is probably going to do that. And he is probably going to star in it as well. Those rumors are not 3 years old. Those rumors are like from last week, bro. Oh my God, why? So, as you can see, guys, there's really good Star Wars news. There's sort of like, I don't know about that Star Wars news. And then there's like, holy shit, when will we be able to get off of this ride? Star Wars news. Sheesh. Pretty crazy. Let's see if this one's any different. Oh, no, that's the same one. He basically said the same thing over there. Oh, this is the embedded. We can't watch that. That's that tweet that doesn't do anything. Okay, couple other things I want to talk about, guys. Couple other things I want to talk about, then we'll get into the Q&A. Let's talk about the Acolyte. This one's weird. So, Anna DeLady Waldrop is working as an intimacy coordinator on the Acolyte. I'm going to read that again. So, Adeliati Waldrop, absolutely positive I pronounced that correctly, is working as an intimacy coordinator on the Acolyte. Waldrop has previously worked on Netflix You Season 4, as well as multiple theater productions. And they say, down here, this is, to the best of my knowledge, the first time an intimacy coordinator has been hired for a Star Wars project. Of course, this might mean there will be sex scenes. However, intimacy coordinators' work goes far beyond that, so I wouldn't expect sex scenes as of now. What? You know, frankly, there have been a ton of incredible updates about the Acolyte. Like, it just recently came out that it's supposed to be 8 episodes, all of which are about 60 minutes. Amazing. A lot of the leaks, rumors, the buzz, the hype, incredible. The show itself might run for multiple seasons. But this story's weird. I don't know if there's ever been an intimacy coordinator for Star Wars. I don't know if you've ever needed an intimacy coordinator for Star Wars. And to me, like, everybody's mind goes to the exact same place. Like, are they going to be fucking on the Acolyte? Like, are they taking this HBO thing that they want to do with Andor to the next level? Are they going House of the Dragon with this shit? And if they did, I mean, how would you guys feel about it? Like, it just seems wild. And with 8 episodes of an hour each in length, I mean, you do have plenty of time to squeeze in some seggy time scenes. Wow. You know? I kind of don't know how to react to it, but as somebody that like really likes Star Wars in the way that George created it, I'm just going to say you don't need that in Star Wars. And if there's even, like, I would say this is the realest shit. No matter what kind of intimacy, like, no matter what it ends up looking like, right? Maybe it's just a full-on Sith orgy. I don't think that's cohesive with what I think of Star Wars. I don't think it's what Star Wars should be doing. I don't think you need any kind of actual intimacy other than maybe a smooch here and there in Star Wars. So, wow, wee wah. What do you guys think? Like, what? Star Wars is for 12-year-olds, George Lucas. I know, right? And then, like, Kathy's like, yeah, 12-year-olds that like to, oh, geez, gross. Will the Acolyte have an OnlyFans too? Probably. Yeah, the intimacy coordinator is so much more than sex. So that's fair, but I guess here's my question. Why would an intimacy coordinator be needed? Like, why would it be needed? It implies intimacy. Okay? By the way, they did the opening of Andor in basically a whorehouse. I don't think they had any intimacy directors there, right? Yeah, like, what? I struggle to, like the take that, oh, it's not sex, so therefore it's a non sequitur, it's not a story, it's a nothing burger. No, I'm sorry, I don't agree. Like, it is wild that they have an intimacy director. Why do they have an intimacy director? It's kind of weird, dude. It's kind of weird. Yeah, so we'll obviously keep an eye on this one. But yeah. So that's kind of wild. Okay. Should we talk about some Mephisto stuff? Here, wait. Let's do this. Should we talk about some Mephisto stuff? Oh, man. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about, let's talk about the Mephisto stuff. Okay. But I also, of course, need to also be kind of a little shit about this and explain why everybody's hypocritical when they're talking about this. So, Marvel Studios' next Disney Plus special may have just been revealed. Blah, 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 blah. Mephisto Disney Plus special rumored to be in development. Above the line, Jeff Snider's claimed on the Hot Mic podcast that the Marvel Studios special presentation centered around Mephisto is shooting right now on the set of Agatha Coven of Chaos, with Sacha Baron Cohen portraying the titular villain. Deadline previously reported that Cohen is portraying Marvel's extra-dimensional demon first on Ironheart, with other rumors pointing towards a return in Agatha. However, the potential delays across the MCU's Phase 5 slate, it is unknown when fans can expect to see the dictator actor take on the MCU villain. Now, many facets to this story. Many facets to this story. Number one, man, this story's crazy. Like, I don't even know if y'all know how crazy this story is. Okay? But the first part of the story is the fact that this was reported in the Marvel Studios Spoilers subreddit, that big dump of leaks that they did. This was in there. And one of the things that they said in that report was that in an attempt to hide the leaks and to hide the reveals, Marvel was going to start shooting special presentations alongside other projects. So as an example, when shooting Agatha Coven of Chaos, they were also secretly shooting Sacha Baron Cohen for a Mephisto Halloween special that will come out later this year. Okay? By the way, they're also going to do a Century special, according to Marvel Studios Spoilers subreddit, and they'll be shooting that right alongside Thunderbolts. Now, this is kind of a clever idea. It maybe saves them a little bit of money from the production cost, and I can see how you're trying to hide the leaks and you're trying to hide that reality. And I do wonder, guys, if Marvel was so pissed about the massive info dump that MMS posted, that's why they sued on Friday. That's why they moved forward on that and tried to shut that shit down. Because now the secret's out. They're literally going to try to shoot things alongside other projects to hide the fact that they're shooting this thing. Well, Jeff Snyder just came out and said, "No, fuck that. This is what you're doing." So now it's out there and everybody knows about it. Not everybody, right? But the leaking community knows about it, right? By the way, I have some really big content ideas because I actually think that info dump that MMS did, wow, was Marvel pissed about that. Wow, was Marvel pissed about that, okay? But that's the first aspect of the story, is that this proves that big info dump was real. By the way, a couple other crazy things. Disney Plus animated spinoff for Black Panther called The Kingdom of Wakanda. Yeah, that was also in that big info dump. You know what I mean? So so many people are now confirming stuff that was in that big info dump. I think Marvel was really upset about that. This includes, by the way, a Battle World saga, perhaps a third part to Secret Wars, the Eternity Wars, the Nomad Project. Why are they so mad? Because they have all these secrets that they don't want out there? Okay, so that's the first part of the story. Second part of the story. Not all of it was true, but there was a lot of truth bombs in there. That's what I think. Okay, next crazy thing. Do you guys recall the Jeff Snyder story that we talked about last Friday? I told you then. Everybody's saying that Jeff Snyder is a clickbaiter, he's sexist, he's just a hater, he's a grifter, he's no good. And they said a lot about that shit about me too, for sharing the information that he talked about in the podcast last week. So, oh, what a difference a fucking week makes. Now you have all of these different people, all of them that were clowning on Jeff last week are so excited to talk about the Mephisto Disney Plus special rumor report. They're literally all going to act like Jeff doesn't have the goods. Jeff doesn't have accurate information. When it comes to talking about Brie Larson, no, he's a full of shit clickbaiter. When it comes to talk about Mephisto, bro, let's get them fucking clicks. Let's get them clicks. Let's talk about Mephisto. Oh my God. What a gross place the internet is, man. What a just place full of hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy, but you get my meaning. It's just so gross. Again, why he wasn't accurate last week? So he wasn't accurate last week, but now he's accurate. Now we can all talk about it. Now we can all share it. Now we can all get excited. He's the same fucking dude. He was accurate last week, but it was uncomfortable. You didn't want to talk about that. Oh, a bunch of haters and neckbeard grifters did 200 fucking videos on Brie Larson 2 years ago. It's not my fucking problem. I didn't do that. Holy shit. It's so crazy. It's so crazy the way people like think about this stuff, and they're so like ingrained in narrative bias. It's ridiculous, okay? But that's the second aspect of the story, okay? And I'm going to do a whole video on this Mephisto stuff because like it's crazy. It's actually pretty wild. But the last thing I want to talk about here is like, man, Mephisto's coming into the MCU. And like we're all really excited, right? Mephisto. Let's go. He's in the MCU. But I'm a little bit nervous here. I'm a little bit concerned that he's going to be a goofily glob kind of silly boy. Okay? Like, Mephisto in the comics, a serious threat. Very powerful. Even in some of the current Avengers stuff and like Avengers Forever with like all the different Mephistos and like the Red Council and all that stuff, Mephisto's kind of a boss. I'm a little bit worried that they're going to make Mephisto a big old goofy goober. Because it's Sacha Baron Cohen, man. Like, that's kind of his shtick, and he's an incredible actor. I think he could do some really intense stuff. But, oh my God, would I question and would I caution Marvel Studios, please do not make Mephisto a goofy goober, silly kind of guy. Oh, man. To be something that was so, like, all the fans were so fixated on him being in WandaVision, which, by the way, those rumors actually have, like, that came from somewhere. That wasn't just people pulling it out of their buttholes. Like, there were actual legitimate, like, rumblings and rumors of Mephisto and Nightmare and the idea of combining the Mephisto and the Nightmare character. I remember it all very well. Okay? And to take something that was that anticipated and that beloved by the Marvel fan base, the memes, bro, are you kidding me? The fucking memes, Mephisto, you know, and like just all of it. Remember the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer came out, people were like, oh my God, there's Mephisto. It's a meme, it's a joke, it's so prevalent. And for Feige to then take that and make the character into a big old joke, oh my God, would that infuriate me. But what does that remind you of? Reminds me a little bit of the Boner. Reminds me a little bit of the Boner. And not a good boner, the Ralph Boner. So it's wild. Like, I'm excited. I'm going to do a whole video breaking down the possibilities because it's like, dude, it's really cool. All these other rumors and like multiverse stuff here and there, like maybe Children's Crusade, maybe all, dude, it's really cool. But holy shit, please don't make Mephisto a goddamn goofy goober motherfucker. No! Can we get a prayer circle going? To like try to avoid that? Can we do that? Can we get a prayer circle going for non-goofy Mephisto? One other thing I want to talk about before we get into the Q&A. Just one more thing. Also coming from Jeff Snyder, but again, Jeff Snyder has no sources. He's a dirty grifter, so take all of this with a massive grain of salt, okay? But it says here, Jeff Snyder revealed Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is doing very well in test screenings, indicating good things for the film as a whole. Snyder revealed he has heard Loki Season 2 is great and that the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is great. This sentiment was echoed by Casey Walsh's claim, but the Scooper reminded fans to never put a ton of stock into opinions via tests, as they don't always represent the general audience reaction. The film and franchise director James Gunn himself said in an interview with Entertainment Weekly that he feels very good about the movie, that he did everything he possibly could to get this trilogy as good as it possibly could be. Now, The reason this is something we want to talk about, the reason this is noteworthy, is because Casey Walsh came out and strongly denied what Jeff Snyder was reporting last week. And he said that he sort of got caught, I think, in a big lie, because he said something that implied that the Marvels was actually testing better than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I think his exact quote was, it's testing better than all the other Marvel projects this year or something. And people immediately said, so you're saying that Guardians 3 is testing worse than the Marvels? You're saying that, Casey Walsh. And he came out and he said, no, I'm not saying that. Blah, blah, blah. That's not what I mean. I've heard that Guardians 3 is incredible and testing really well. And so he's like kind of like stumbling over his bullshit lies. And I think Jeff was speaking to clarify the confusion there and to sort of maybe get us a little bit more excited about some of these projects, because, again, last week he caught a lot of heat for talking about how the Marvels is a shit show, which, by the way, I believe. It's not just Jeff saying it. And so all these people that were like, no, dude, the Marvels are going to be great and all that stuff, it doesn't seem that way. Maybe they'll fix it. Maybe it will be incredible. But the defense of the Marvels put a narrative out there that Guardians 3 might be just as bad, if not worse. Jeff speaking to the opposite of that, and thank God. Because, man, I just don't know if Guardians 3, because I think Shazam, you know, it's got like a bad Rotten Tomatoes score. It's going to make like no money. I think Shazam might be an epic bomb, like a really, truly epic box office bomb, right? But if we were going to go into Guardians 3 and that was also going to be a stinker, and then Loki Season 2 was also going to be a stinker, oh my God, like how many bad projects in a row can the fan base absorb before it becomes a big, big issue? That's the Star Wars shit. That's the Star Wars pattern, right? And so a lot of people like myself were like, oh, bro, I'm worried now. But what he's saying is Guardians 3 is testing really well. That's great. And Loki Season 2 is testing really well as well. So as long as those two are pretty fire, as long as Secret Invasion is an absolute bullcrap, I think that we'll have a pretty good year from Marvel. And even if the Marvels, like, that way, if we have a really, really good year of content, right? Even if the Marvels is like mid, because I think they'll at least make it mid. Marvel's really good at that. Ant-Man, I think you could make an argument that Ant-Man is just mid. It really bothered me. I think it is absolute garbage. But I think most people think it's just okay, right? And if the Marvels can go from being an absolute shit show to being like mostly okay, I think it's still a win for Marvel going into next year, which I strongly believe will be filled with all types of fire-ass content. I think next year is going to be really, really dope. Okay, I know I said one thing, but I want to do one more thing after the one more thing, okay? The official synopsis for X-Men 97 has been revealed. Storm and Wolverine try to continue the X-Men. Magneto comes in and wants to step up for Charles Xavier. Sinister comes in to try and end the X-Men once and for all. That's pretty hype. That's pretty hype, bro. I'm excited for that shit. And I think X-Men 97, like, really and truly, it'll take place several months after Xavier left space with Lilandra to heal. Some characters like Jean and Scott and Rogue and Gambit have thought maybe they can live the life they've been fighting for. Interesting. Yeah, I'm so excited for that shit, man. Get me to X-Men 97 ASAP. ASAP. I'm about it. Okay. Guys, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. I'm pretty sure that's everything I wanted to talk about. So now we can get into Q&A. Now we can get into the Q's and the A's, okay? Let's see here. Let me get this shut pulled up here. Should I grab a beer? Should I have a beer while we're doing this Q&A? St. Patty's Day, man. You know? Why did it get so dark? Try to brighten that up a little. There we go. That's a little brighter. Should I have a burr? Will y'all wait for me to go get a burr? All right, cool. I'll be right back. Oh, God. Oh, God. Woo! GameStop gift cards. You're absolutely right. But we'll do Q&A first. Because the GameStop stuff is not as entertaining for people. I know a lot of you guys are like, I want to win. Okay. So, cheers to all of you celebrating St. Patty's. I am Polish. I am not Irish. But the Poles are... We're a fun people. I'm sure the Irish don't mind drinking with us. And I'm drinking a Sour Monkey, which is 9.5% APV. But they're so good. They get you in trouble. Num, 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 num. Okay. Let's get in to the questions and the answers. First in today was Lord Vito, who says, Happy St. Patty's Day with a 5 spot. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the support, and happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Drake Odinson with a very generous 10 spot says, I'm worried Sentry is going to be so deported like Thor. I'm the MCU. I'm the comics. They can destroy planets. Besides that, only us nerds are pumped about Red Hulk and Sentry. Red Hulk can't touch Thor. I'm worried about the Infinity Saga made the studio believe they can make masterpieces with less known characters. It's already backfiring, in my opinion. Okay, very interesting comments. I think what he's saying is I don't want them to do what they did to Thor to the Sentry, because the Sentry is so epic and awesome in the comics. Which I understand. I get that concern. And then the idea that only us nerds are excited about Red Hulk and Sentry. Red Hulk can't touch Thor. I don't agree with that because, well, for a couple of different reasons. Like, let me explain. When Thanos turns his head at the end of the first Avengers movie, I'm telling you, 90% of the people in that theater had no idea who that dude was. But the 10% that did probably audibly gasped. And what that created was a scenario in which that 90% was like, yo, who was that? And why did that one guy shit himself? They had to take him out in a stretcher. What's that about? And so sometimes, and this is why nerds are the best and why we're so vital to the success of any of these things, and basically these studios should be worshiping at our feet and making sure that we're taken care of because we run this whole goddamn show, is because our hype for these things gets the normies hyped. If we think some shit's like really, really dope that's coming to Marvel, we will talk about it with more normie people, and it has sort of a trickling down effect. That's actually, I think, kind of the magic of why this movie or these movies have been as successful as they have been. Is like the super sweaty nerdy people will explain it, get hyped about it, and talk about it. And like, if you, because you guys are, a lot of you guys are nerd vengers, a lot of you guys have been nerds for a long time. You probably have normie friends that come to you to ask you questions about what's going on with Marvel. Maybe more so during the Infinity Saga run than now, but that was the thing. Now, as far as what he's saying, though, about unknown characters and that backfiring, I actually do agree with that point because, look, you've got the X-Men coming. You've got, Spider-Man. You've got Fantastic Four with Doctor Doom, Silver Surfer. It's crazy that they won't just give us content with that stuff and they're going to make us watch, like, Agatha, Wonder Man, Hawkeye, like all these different, like that is kind of crazy. And I think that in order to go bigger, you should go for the bigger characters, of course. But Red Hulk and Sentry feel like big characters. They feel big, impactful. It's going to be cool. So I'm actually really excited for that. But I get where you're coming from. Let me take another sip of this burr. That's mighty tasty. Meister420 says, to all the haters, tell me one hit show that doesn't have an episode of world building. Stranger Things, The Boys. Yeah, didn't think so. Get the fuck out of here. Mando is fire. I hear you, bro. You know what's really interesting? I'm going to bring up a really interesting point, as I always do. That's why you guys are all here. It's kind of my thing. We started rewatching. For me, it's a rewatch. For Elisa, it's her first time through. We started watching Breaking Bad last night. Okay? And I was really struck by how slowly they build what's going on with Walter and all of the side characters. The one episode is essentially a whole episode where he's getting drunk and talking to the guy that he has to kill. And it's this dude, the whole episode. And there's other stuff going on in the background. But it's like Walter he can't bring himself to kill this guy. And the guy kind of knows it. They start to bond over it. And the guy's this close to getting Walter to unlock him. And then Walter notices like the plates and how there's a big chunk of the broken plate that's missing. And I do think there's something to be said for if that was a Star Wars show. And if it was in the modern era, a lot of fans would reject it and be like, yo, bro, what is this? But, having said that, it's like it is still the case that most people, when they're watching Star Wars, they're not trying to get a similar experience to Breaking Bad. Like, I don't know that I've ever wanted a Breaking Bad-esque experience from Star Wars. You know what I mean? Star Wars is more pulp adventure and fun nerdy shit. Right? So, I get where you're at. If your argument is like, yo, Star Wars fans have no patience. Great shows build. Great shows have, these long episodes. I understand that argument. I also, though, think that's never really been Star Wars. Which, to take it full circle to something I've said in the past that people got so butthurt about, but you will, well, I mean, maybe you won't, but you should probably come to realize what I was saying, where I was coming from. This is why Andor is ultimately bad for the Star Wars brand. I know. Please, freak out, put your hate into the comments, get all triggered by it, but it's the facts. This is why Andor was a mistake from the branding perspective. If you're Popeye's chicken and you decide for a limited time to make, let's say, saltambacca. It's really nice fucking Italian saltambacca dish. Okay? And you put it out for a limited time. And yeah, it doesn't really sell well because most people are pulling up for the fried chicken. But a bunch of your people try it out. They love it. They're like, bro, that Sultan Baka, that was my shit. When you take it away, you're going to have a lot of folks that were like, man, I want that. I don't actually want this thing that Star Wars has always been, this fried chicken. I'm not into that anymore. I want this. And then you create a division, an unneeded division within your fan base. So, like, this is why I was trying to say, like, Andor's not just not Star Wars. It's legitimately bad for the brand. And, you know, you don't have to agree, but just watch how the discourse happens for the next couple of years. It's already happened. You already divided the fans. You already have that discussion, which will now always happen. You already have people saying that after Andor, I can't enjoy Mandalorian. People not enjoying an episode of The Mandalorian that's more like Andor. They did this to themselves, dude. I think it was such a big mistake. Such a big mistake. Mariana says, why'd they hire an intimacy coordinator? Is there going to be excessive sex? Wouldn't mind a love scene between Anakin and Padme, but not sure about this. Let me drink this beer and answer your question. Maybe. Maybe the Sith just get down. And maybe we can't tell an accurate Sith-focused dark side story without damn near constant cheek clapping. Okay? And I'm trying to come around to the idea. And so maybe like softcore, Euphoria-esque nudity and sex constantly is gonna be great for the Disney-owned, family-friendly, for kids Star Wars brand. Mariana, I think if you are frustrated by this or you hate it, you know, maybe you need to check yourself. You know, maybe you need to just think about, you know, yourself and get ready for some twigs, some berries, and some bushes. Okay? So, thank you for the support. The Frog Eater says, Josh, did you see that My Time to Shine Hello said in someone's IG DMs that Daredevil Born Again will be TVMA rated and that Blade will be rated R? I did not see that. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me, though. Frog Eater followed up and says, I don't think James Gunn lied about Affleck wanting to direct a DC movie with Gunn. Maybe he just saw the script and decided after he saw it, no thanks. Well, after DC fans and cinephiles laughed at us MCU fans claiming Quantumania bombed, they're about to learn a new musical note with Shazam 2. It's an L. Yeah, those are both fair points. Let me address them. So, it is possible, of course, that James Gunn didn't lie, that they had the meeting. Maybe Ben was interested, but when it became more clear what the actual thing was going to be, he walked away. Fair. Either way, it looks like a big L. And I also think the sort of veracity at which he denied it and then to go on and gush about Zach, it's just not a good look. And it really feels like a James Gunn L. So ultimately, like, you could make that argument, right? Like, you could say, oh, but it's actually true. But look, we polled it. We still have the poll up, which is kind of funny. And it's still 80%. Look at this. This has 800 votes. You know what I mean? Like, 80% of you guys think he lied. So it's possible that he didn't. But he set himself up for a big old L. That's kind of my point. And yeah, Frog Eater. Look, Shazam 2 is about to really prove how bad it can be, I think. The Pizza Lion with a 10 spot says, Josh, Marvel has completely lost me. I don't watch Star Wars unless Filoni's involved. I am only here for your commentary on this dumpster fire we call Disney. Enjoy this 5 and have a good Friday. Well, it's a 10. Thanks, Pizza Line. And yeah, man, look, I'm not giving up. I would be lying if I said it's not an incredibly frustrated time to be doing the exact thing that I am doing. Like, it's been and I'll talk more about this at 2 on the Prime stream, but it has been a particularly frustrating week for a couple of different reasons. But I've been really, like, thinking about it, right? I'm telling you, man, I still love making the Marvel content. I don't really love making the Star Wars content as much. I got to be honest. I don't. I think that's obvious, right? But, like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, man, I'm so frustrated with Marvel. I'm so frustrated about all this shit. Then I thought about it a lot, and I was like, dude, but I still love that shit. I still love making that content. I still love speculating. Like, talking about Mephisto, all these ideas I have for the video, I love that. Talking about my favorite rumors, talking about, you know, like, I truly love being a Marvel fan, right? I wish that when it came to Star Wars, there was more of that kind of stuff to talk about and less like, what the fuck? Like, it seems like for every one, oh shit, that's awesome, what could that be, Star Wars bit of news, there's like 5 others that you gotta be like, yo, undeniably, they're holding the L on that. And that's not a good recipe, dude. You know? But I genuinely still love this stuff. So I'm still holding out for now. Donnie says, you were so right about James Gunn. Completely. I don't know if I was ever right about James Gunn succinctly in a singular tweet, but I think my take on Gunn overall has been pretty spot on. I'm pretty confident that this guy is not only a liar, but like really kind of like he understands social media to the point where like he's even saying lies in a way to like make himself look good, insulate himself from criticism, etc., etc. So like even all this shit about his wife, like he's so intelligent in the way he's now going to position himself as victim and person that is receiving hate rather than the reality of getting the job as president, giving himself multiple $1 million jobs, continuing to employ his wife and secure her position in multi-million-dollar jobs moving forward. You see what I mean? Like, and to think, like, if you think he doesn't know what he's doing, you're wrong. And I still think it's the bad move. I still think it's a bad idea because look what just happened yesterday. He looks like a liar, and he'll continue to look like a liar. Now, all of that said, man, he still could do an awesome job. I still want to see the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I still want to see the movie. So, yeah, that's kind of my take on it. If Guardians 3 turns out to be great and hits $1 billion worldwide, it'll prove Quantumania, Morbius, Shazam 2, and Black Adam flop because they're bad, not comic book movie fatigue. That's a really good point, man, for sure. Slick Demon 17 says, yo, Josh, don't stress the Star Wars stuff. Keep killing it with the channel. Random question. Have I ever played Dragon Age Inquisition? It's goated. No, I have not played it. I've heard it's real good, though. Yeah. I heard it's real good. Maybe I'll check it out. Zack Snyder's Justice League is actually Ben's 3rd highest rated movie, says Mate. No, it's not. You're a liar. Prince Zodiac says, people say Marvel's attacking leaks because Ant-Man 3 sucks. I'm thinking they finally have something in the script that can be proven Marvel property in court. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation on why it happened, right? I will tell you that Marvel's been trying to tackle leakers for some time. This does have a lot to do with Spider-Man No Way Home. And that, yeah, they took action on this thing because they had an opportunity. I think that's fair. But the reality is they hate leaks. Bro, they're probably furious. Like, literally, Feige, and he's not going to, like, tweet about it like James Dumb, but Feige's probably sitting back literally being like, I hate Jeff Snyder. I fucking hate Jeff Snyder. How dare he put that out there that Mephisto is... I was trying to hide this from everybody and shoot it during Agatha, and now Jeff fucking Snyder puts it out there. Like, for real. That is probably literally how he feels. But he's not going to say shit publicly. You know what I mean? Harris McGrady says, do you think Gunn should focus on the executive producing aspect of his job and not more pet projects that end up diverting his focus from the bigger picture? Safran seems to be the real producer here. That is a great question. I really don't know. I'm curious, honest to God. I am curious how much James Gunn actually even thinks he'll do this full slate. Because he's been in Hollywood enough to know how this shit works. And I can't help but think that he's hedging his bets a little bit here, collecting a few $1 million jobs, because it's pretty possible that, you know, when Universal comes in, they just fire him. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I wonder, how much does he actually... I mean, I know he has a passion for the product. Don't get me wrong. He's got a passion for it. I know he really wants this stuff to succeed. But I also wonder how much of this is him knowing Hollywood and how much of it is him being a big sweaty nerd. Because he is both. He is both of those kind of people, right? So I don't know. It's a good question. But yes, I think he should probably just do the executive producing. Frog Eater said, if My Time to Shine is right on Daredevil Born Again being TV MA and Blade being R, they must release both in 2025 after Deadpool 3's second R-rated film to hit $1 billion worldwide. Yeah. I also think it's a really nice sort of welcome change. It's a welcome change of tone. Because Marvel is just a little too silly right now. A little too goofy, right? I just burped, but I muted the mic for you guys because I hear, or because I care about you. Kevbot says with a very generous $20 holler, I want to believe this direction is the right way to go. James' post on directing Soups felt hopeful, but Ben's comments hits hard. Sometimes I just wish I was blind to all this sort of news and just watch the project's end of story. I think that's absolutely fair. But again, like, here's the other thing. James attacked the press. And I'm not talking about me. I don't really consider myself the press. But this dude literally tagged a trade reporter saying that he's a good dude, but he needs to get good sources, refuting a trade report. You're talking about advertisers. You're talking about actual business. You're talking about relationships that are obviously way stronger and more established between studio heads than you have, James Gunn. So he picked a fight with a whole side of the industry. So, you know, if you see the trades or you see some articles really playing up the fact that he lied, what did he think was going to happen, dude? You know? Like, what did he think was going to happen? What a fucking L. Like, what a horrible idea to attack the press, the established Hollywood press. He's also trying to not break stories through the trades and just tweet it all himself. Wow. I just think that's a stupid strategy. Like, why die on that hill? That's crazy. Frog Eater says, I'm not sure that tweet of Rosario's was about next week's episode. It was more about this week's episode because she was on the post hours before Chapter 19. Oh, okay. That's kind of interesting. Good to know. Thank you. Stormy says, literally nothing can get me hyped for Shazam 2. Rather keep my money to watch John Wick 4, D&D, and Super Mario Bros. Later this month. Also, Creed 3 is fire. Yo, thank you, Stormy. Appreciate the love. By the way, are you guys catching how big the buzz and hype is on the D&D movie? Are you ready to talk about how I'm going to be right again? Are you ready? Should we talk about it? $1 billion. 1 billion with a B. Billion. Yeah, that's right. I said it. I said it, you mother truckers. The hype on the movie's incredible, bro. I think it's in the 90s on Rotten Tomato. People are giving glowingly positive reviews about it. Let's get it. Let's get it. $1 billion, baby. God, I can't wait for that movie. It's going to be so damn cool. I'm really excited. Yo, Stormy, thanks so much for the love, man. Hope you're doing well. Lord Vito says, you know what I think? Sometimes I feel like Feige has people in here become Nerdvengers just to trigger you and throw you off his trail. Hashtag White Shug. Maybe. I'm too smart. Too clever. Too sweaty. Too nerdy. Too drinking this beer. You'll never throw me off, Kevin. You'll never throw me off. Evan says, hey, Josh, hope you and the family are doing well. When's the next Diamond Lounge? Probably next week, dude. I would do it today. I would literally do it today, but it's been such a stressful week. I need to check out. I have some work to do over the weekend. I need to check out. I need to get my mentality right because I got a lot of cool stuff that I want to do, but it's been a weird week, man. Maria says, keep doing what you do, Josh. Much support and love. Send my love to Elisa. Love her. And the little nerd, too. Can't catch the lives as much anymore. Just busy AF. But check out DMs on Discord. Okay, thank you very much. And I'll pass that all along. I appreciate you. And I obviously understand getting too busy. It's crazy. Yeah, we're going to do the GameStop stuff. Relax. MTS says, heard the craziest theory that the armor is the lost sister of Satine and Bo, who would be the mother of Corky Kyrie's. Wow, wouldn't that be wild? That would be pretty crazy. That's a deep cut, dude. I don't know about that, but that'd be fun. Sajid says, I'd love to be wrong about seeing Ahsoka, but I think they have more Mando-centric episode this week after a Pershing-dominated one last week. Blinkers up! Yeah, very possible. Absolutely possible that that's going to be the case. I really thought that tease was more significant than that. It appears to just be her kind of liking that. It's super vague, right? So I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked to see Ahsoka, but I'm not necessarily expecting it. Elijah says, Prime Stream plug. You might get to see a sneak peek at the new tower. Are you coming to the Prime stream? Damn. Elijah, dude, you need to write more stuff like that for me. That was pretty good. Yeah, Prime Stream's going to be really good, man. In about an hour, we're going to go over some fun stuff. I'm also going to talk to you guys about some comic book stuff, too. My comic. Mine. Not yours. One day, Nom Anor is going to show up on Coruscant. Okay. The Star Wars Obsession says, aside from what I have been saying about all roads leading to the sequels, is this sequel, or is, try that again. Is this season on Mando have good storytelling to you so far? Most fans are upset about the last episode. What say you? I love this season. I think this season is great. I think it is bringing us back into all the magic. I think that the show overall has some issues. Like, it is kind of wild when you step back and actually think about some of the stuff they do. But no, I think this season is great. I loved episode 3. And I thought, like, is it a little Andor-ish? Yes, but it feels more Star Wars-y to me. It feels like some of the things Andor was trying to do, but with, like, actual aliens, actual Empire, actual subtext. Like, it legitimately feels better to me than Andor. And I think some people would say, like, oh, dude, but the dialogue in Andor was so much better. Dude, the dialogue doesn't make Star Wars. Star Wars has never had compelling dialogue. What the fuck are you talking about? That's not what makes Star Wars. So, yeah, to me, I loved episode 3. I thought it was great. So you're saying you're landed gentry. Exactly! X-Wing, what the fuck is landed gentry? It's Star Wars talk. Peyton Moore says, just started the stream, but my grandma is 70 and love bar hopping, especially on St. Patty's Day. Cheers to grandma, dude. Party on, grandma. Party on. Michael Smith says with a 10 spot, in my honest opinion, I don't think the movies can serve Star Wars at this point. It's sad for me to say that, but Lucasfilm has let me down, like the fans. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how the movie performs and where Star Wars goes from there. But yeah, it is kind of weird. It is kind of weird where we're at, huh? Definitely the weirdest time as a Star Wars fan I've ever experienced. Cole Wallace says, did you see the Justice League 2017 almost made Affleck quit acting? Article on Screen Rant. Yeah, but I mean, I've known about that for some time. But yeah, it's pretty freaking wild, dude. I mean, Warner Brothers is horrible. Warner Brothers is horrible. Jeff Johns is horrible. Kevin Tsuchihara, horrible. A lot of these people are horrible. Horrible. Ugh. Dirty says, if Mando and Ahsoka don't slap, I'm ready to hang up my Sith robes and only watch 1 to 6 in Clone Wars. Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett should have been way better. Take my money. Oh, hell yeah, bro. And trust me, I think Ahsoka's going to slap for sure. And I think Mando's going to get pretty wild in the back half of the season. But I understand where you're at. I mean, I can't blame you. RJ Phillips says, wow, wow, wee wah. Sweaty stream this morning. Josh, did you catch the last Mando episode? They mentioned Bendu Appreciation Day. Is that a nod to Rebels? Thanks for the great content. Nerd Adventures for Life. What? I did not see that. Bendu Appreciation Day? What the fuck is that? What is that? What? Is that real? Drop some nerd coin for St. Patty's Day. I will, but most of you are just going to gamble it away anyway. But sure. Sure, let's do it. Let's do 10K. Let's do 10K. Boom shakalaka. Yes, it's real. They mentioned it. Bendu Day? How would the galaxy know about the Bendu? I don't know about that one. That feels pretty weird. JT Nash says, my year milestone chat. Thanks for all that you do, Josh. Hey, I appreciate it. A year of support is no joke, so thank you very much, man. Happy Hogan is a simp. Says, do y'all remember when Josh was drop kicking old ladies back in the day, like he was the Red Hulk? Good times. Yeah, I know. I've actually calmed down quite a bit. People don't understand it, but I've actually matured. I have matured. Carl says, hey, Nerd Adventures, I'm hyped for a Taika Jar Jar movie, St. Patrick's Day, Thor in the Marvels. Mando is going to get really good. Star Wars is back. I hope so, Carl. Appreciate the love. Freck says, Ahsoka and Mando. Yes, please. Intimacy coordinator and an acolyte. Get the fuck out of here. Heir to the Empire movie. Yes, please. Best possible Star Wars project ever. Yeah, I agree. Tim the Ancient says, I agree with your statement about Star Wars being pulpy. But didn't the EU and novels ruin people for that? Not Andor? Partially, yeah. Partially, for sure. But, again, I think Andor is... like, it's the one under Disney. It's the one they promoted the shit out of. It's the Tony Gilroy, like, paid him millions of dollars. Like, it's a mistake. Like, Andor was and will always be a mistake. It was a mistake! They fucked it up! Num, 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 num. Good num-nums. Okay. Drake says, with a 10 spot, thanks for the answer, brother, and I agree to a point. We just need a big 3 member. Thor is OP as he gets smashed. Mjolnir with a billion sun force, more than the Sentry, million suns. We need a big 3. I hear you, bro, and I think we're going to have a lot of really powerful characters coming to Marvel very soon. Josh, I don't know why you keep bringing up Andor. It's Star Trek. Why compare Star Trek to Star Wars? Good point. Good point. Overbound Game Studio says, Gunn should run for office. Much love. Yeah, I mean, he seems to be of that same ilk, for sure. X-Wing says with the 10 spot, I don't think even a massively successful Star Wars movie is going to save them in the eyes of many fans. They're so far behind, they need a steady stream of quality content to get anywhere. Tall order. So I think I see where you're coming from, bro, but I again think that we're really locked into sort of our little bubble here. And I think most fans Like, if the Star Wars movie comes out, it gets a lot of buzz, and, like, even people like you and me, X-Wing, like, here's kind of what it is. If people like you and me are literally saying to, like, our audiences, which, again, are so small compared to the big group of fans, if we're saying stuff like, you know, believe it or not, this actually sounds incredible. You know, believe it or not, the hype on this is real. Believe it or not, I'm actually really excited. Then that trickles into, like, our audiences, that then trickles into the normies. That's what I think they need. And if they have the opposite, it could be very devastating. That's kind of where I'm at. But I get what you're saying. Drop some coinage. I did. Joey Ebb says, looking at that ice cold victory in your hands, making me very thirsty. Gunn will make Superman goobly glob and cracking jokes the entire time. Who is going to be the new Lex Luthor? Ooh, that's a great question. I think it should be The Rock. I think The Rock should be James Gunn's Lex Luthor. That's what I think. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? The Rock as Lex Luthor? I think it would be fire. Christian says, all Star Wars live action shows editing is way too clean and bothers the F out of me. Why don't they add a grain filter? It would look better. Yeah, I kind of actually agree with that. It's too, like, soap opera lighting and, like, too clean. Like, Star Wars was always, like, lived in, right? Mars says, Josh, open up a cold one to join you. Starting off the day right. Much love to you and your fam and the Nerd Vengers. Thank you, Mars. I really appreciate the love. And then Maverick Pilgrim says, in my opinion, recent Acolyte news equal Star Wars trying to be Game of Thrones. Yes. Thoughts, Josh? Much love. Appreciate you, Mav. Hope you're doing well. I think there's some truth to that. I mean, you kind of can't deny, and this is like such a Hollywood thing, dude. Hollywood's so stupid. They're so dumb over there. They're so like, oh my God, what a bunch of dummies. They're so reductive in their thinking that they're like, House of the Dragon, 30 million viewers an episode, like by the end of the season. Well, we gotta throw some sex in there. We gotta throw some. That's like, they're that dumb. They are that stupid. They have no concept of what Star Wars is. They're just like, House of the Dragon had titties. Bro, what if we had titties? That's what it is. Titties! It's sad. It's a sad state of affairs, and I don't have much hope for them to actually figure it out. Now, everybody shut your mouth. And let's draw for these $200 GameStop gift cards, goddammit! Let's draw! They are legitimately so dumb over there. What a town full of dummies, dude. Like, real talk. Okay. Let's get to these members. Okay, we have currently 871 Nerd Venger members. Okay, first thing we're going to roll even or odds. And I already rolled it, and it is even. That means we'll start on the last page. Okay, now we roll a D9. Oh, God damn it. How do I get to the D9? Is this the one? Okay, yeah. A D9, 1 dice. Boom. One? Oh, wait, no, that's not the roll. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Boom. 5. Okay, so this is page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here they are. Here's all the names. A lot of old school people's on here. Yeah, a lot of old school peeps on here. Okay. So we have 2 of these. We give away a $200 GameStop gift card every single month. The problem is some people don't claim theirs. So here we go. 100. Wait, what? Yeah. Here we go. Ready? Boom. The first one goes to, boom, 95? So there's 100 on a page. So we can go to the very bottom. It says 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, 95. Dude, it's the Meister 420. I know you're in here. I saw you in here earlier. Screenshot that. Meister! Are you still in here? Meister! You still in here, bro? Okay, so let's roll another one of these. If it's odd, we'll start from page 1. If it's even, oh, it's even. So we'll start from the last page again. Now we roll a D9. Boom. He might not be in here, but I saw him in here earlier. He's pretty active, so we should be able to get it to him. Boom. 4. Page 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, a lot of old heads in here. Ooh, a lot of old heads in here. Okay. Let's go. 100. Boom. Boom. 55. Okay. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12 is Dark Crypto. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 22 is Dahomey. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 is Axe. 30. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. 40 is Cole. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, and here it is, 55. It's Johnny Wargo. Hey, Johnny. And I'll screen cap that. Johnny Wargo. Hey, Johnny. Who? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Johnny, if he doesn't claim it, we'll, of course, do another drawing for it. And we're right around the corner from another one. We do it every single month. Every single month, we give a $200 GameStop gift card to a lucky member as a way to give back for all of the incredible support. Thank you so much. Man, I'm sorry, but Hugh? Oh, I mispronounced accent? Oh, shit, my bad. My bad, bro. Dude, why am I sweating in here? Why is it so fucking hot in this office? It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Okay. I'm going to get out of here really soon. I'll see you guys at 2 p.m. The Prime members, that is, at 2 p.m. And we'll talk about YouTube stuff. But what else is going on? What else is going on in the world? Got like 5 minutes. What else you want to talk about? You're not on test, are you? No. No. But I don't have anything against that. I think I wouldn't necessarily mind doing it. There are some... I want to put it off for as long as I can, to be honest with you. I'd prefer to do... some peptides. I'd prefer to do some peptides before I would do test, to be honest with you. Why is Streamlabs chat so inherently broken these days? I have no idea. Sucks. Why is Jeff Johns horrible? So he's like a really good comic book writer, but he has this like massive ego and he has no idea how to work in Hollywood. He has horrible ideas. He's super political. He's not a good dude. Going to FNM tonight. Standard is actually really fun right now. Oh, that's sick, dude. I have not played Standard in a long time. Did play some Commander last night, though. Yeah, the peptides don't interfere. Certain peptides do, but the peptides I'm interested in don't actually interfere with your natural test levels. So, yeah. Did Loki Season 2 get pushed back? Maybe. Yeah, X-Wing for sure. I literally just had sausage and pierogies yesterday. I am 67% Polish, according to 23andMe. Stargirl was good. I've heard that's good, yes. I have never watched it, but... You watched the new Bad Batch? Yeah, I thought it was decent. Thought it was decent. Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually really hungry, so I'm going to get out here and eat before 2. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. Pretty wild, dude. What's your favorite Commander deck? That would have to either be Sheoldred the Apocalypse or Elminster the Wizard. But I've been playing a new mono green deck that's super fun. It's this guy. Thrun, the Breaker of Silence. It's a beat stick deck. And oh man, is it fun. It is fun times. So. I'm also going to try to get some Warhammer in this weekend, baby. Feeling good about Warhammer. I'm really getting a grasp on the game. Loki coming sooner, so moving up, not back. Unfortunately, I don't think so. It could be pushed back to the end of the year, but it's still going to come out at the end of the year. Damn it, Josh, read my chat. I'm curious if you disagree. No, I read your chat, brother. I did. I remember it. Because I remember your name, the Pizza Lion. Yeah. And you also sent in 10 and said, take this 5. I remember it. I went into this big spiel about how, like, I'm still riding with Marvel and I think Star Wars could maybe... Hey, the Meister! You won $200 GameStop gift card, bro. Hit me up. Hit me up so I can get your... Oh, thanks, X-Wing. Welcome back, baby. Yeah. Meister, just hit me up on either Twitter or Discord, and we'll get that info to you. Where on Discord? We just have to private message me. I'm Josh the Jedi on there. So. All right, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Whew! We gotta watch it with the drinking on the public streams, man. I was ready to tear into James Gunn. Oh my God, I was about to go nuts. But we pulled back. We pulled back and we made a safe disengagement and exited before we got everybody way too upset because he's a stupid white-haired piece of shit. I mean, we're good. We're good. It's going to be fine. And we'll keep on keeping on. Really appreciate all the support this week. I appreciate, it's funny. I feel like I'm kind of slowly losing my mind. With a lot of the stuff that's going on in the world. But you know what? It's been crazy. It seems like you guys are just, you're okay. You're like, no, we get it. Josh is losing his mind. He's still here for us. He's still talking about that fun, nerdy stuff. So maybe it's okay. Maybe it's going to be all right. Appreciate you. Much love. Make sure you open up your third eye. Make sure you wash out your butt.